the least risky way to play it is just buy Bitcoin. And then next would be MSTR, which is, as we've talked about, let's say the safest version of these, the most sober with the way that they're accumulating, like not as degen as some of the other players. And then a few like TradFi names like Circle, Coinbase, Galaxy. And then if you want to get further out on the risk curve, you open a brokerage account and start aping into any small company that announces a BTC treasury or I guess other crypto treasury. Just ape into it. Like I don't know, set up notifications to be like to hear about any time these companies are going to do it. And then the third is the absolute Chad play. You just you do it yourself. You acquire a company and put crypto on the treasury.
Where are we in the cycle, Graham? Where are we in the cycle?
Yeah. But the least risky way to play it, just hold BTC, because the majority of these companies are putting Bitcoin on their treasury sheet, and like that means they have to buy Bitcoin. So it's buy pressure on the dwindling supply of Bitcoin.
All right, so this is the second question I wanted to ask you, and I guess there's two parts. There's the Bitcoin part, and then there's all the other coins part, the shitcoin part. So that is the question, Graham. Is this going to have a very material effect on Bitcoin? All these companies buying this like this, because we've seen now for a month, 2 months, this really start to ramp up. The number of announcements we do on this show and the weekly, we can't even keep up now. And I do breaking news on BTCTN. Seriously, every day, no exaggeration. Yeah. There are at least a dozen every day of new companies announcing it. I have a couple of accounts that all they do is talk about companies all over the world who are putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and you can just look at their feed. It's like a dozen every 24 hours. Price isn't moving.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on there?
Yeah, what's going on there? I mean,
they're
people
not actually
are gobbling
buying
up
Bitcoin.
Well, they are. They're gobbling it up, right? So
yeah,
I think there are a couple of accounts that I follow. They're kind of more Bitcoin maxi accounts, and they talk about how these companies buying Bitcoin like this have much less of an effect on the price than if they went out and bought them if they just bought it directly.
It's because they're doing OTC deals.
Maybe it's OTC, or they're doing it in a very controlled, like TWAP way. I'm not exactly sure the exact thing, and I'm not saying that I agree with this. It's just something that I've heard.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it, but I have also heard, like on that note, that the amount of Bitcoin available on OTC desks is dwindling. And then, of course, we've heard several times, like the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is dwindling. And so, yeah, it does seem like we're setting up for a crunch.
Yeah.
And the price of Bitcoin itself, right? Like it broke the most recent all-time high break was like a couple weeks ago. It's been consolidating. It's just had its longest streak now above 100K, like 40 consecutive days, I believe. And you could argue that we're just coiling up here, ready for the next big move.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Now, I think the second more interesting question is for the shitcoins. So all these companies who are buying, like, I don't know, Tron or Solana, Hype, this to me seems a lot less likely to have an effect on the price of those assets, because all these treasury companies, they buy Bitcoin, and then you have retail and crypto users, and they say, oh, Bitcoin, I'm just going to buy I'm going to buy the asset directly, right? Maybe you have companies who can self-custody, right? And they'll just buy it directly, maybe. And so they can have like a marginal effect on that price. I don't think any people are they're not gonna buy Tron or Solana or Hype directly, right? They might buy the company that's buying them, and then how much of that money, as in like the premium, how much of that money that the company now has from people buying their stock is going to result in them buying more Hype? I feel like there's a compression there in terms of trad people, let's say, put in $100 to that equity, and then that equity company, they raise $10 more to buy Hype. So you lose you lose a lot of that thing. Whereas before they might just buy Hype like in a different cycle. So I feel like for that there would be less of an effect. At least that's kind of my initial impression. I've just been thinking about this today mostly. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion, but what you're saying there makes sense.
So it could be go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, of course, like the market cap of these shitcoins is much smaller than Bitcoin, so less is needed to move the price.